Hey there, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited about today's episode. When we first started planning this podcast, we knew we were going to be talking to industry thought leaders, health educators, tech innovators, and others who influence and shape the landscape of our healthcare workforce globally. But it was so important to us that we hear from health workers, from nurses and other allied health professionals who are making pivotal career decisions, some of them involving career mobility, moving from one country to another, others to talk about their career trajectories and pathways, and the kind of opportunities that are available to health workers who pursue those careers, where the sky's the limit and the world is their oyster to pursue opportunities. We know those journeys are difficult and challenging, and we're going to hear about one today. I'm so excited for you to meet Olivia Li. She is a nurse with 27 plus years of experience. She started her career in China, where she was born and raised, and had to go through an amazing journey to ultimately move her career into the United States, where she is now a very acknowledged and acclaimed health educator. She is now a nurse working at the top of her skill set, and she has such a beautiful journey to share with us. On top of that, she's just a radiant human being, and I know you're going to love meeting her. So stick around. We're about to jump in. We'd love to have you join us. Across global health systems, health workers on the front lines of care delivery are carrying more on their shoulders today than ever before. Workforce shortages are increasing. Scope of practice is shifting, and skill sets are definitely evolving. In this podcast, we're setting the table for some powerful discussions with nurses, allied health professionals, regulators, tech innovators, and other thought leaders across the globe. Together, we're diving deep on the challenges and opportunities that loom large for recruiting, training, and equipping the health worker of the future. Welcome to Care Anywhere, the Global Health Workforce Podcast, brought to you by CGFNS International. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Care Anywhere podcast hosted by CGFNS. I'm Lea Sims, Chief Marketing and Communications Officer for CGFNS and the host of this show. I am so excited about our episode today. We're diving in on the story of an internationally educated nurse who's had an amazing career journey that started offshore, came into the United States, and has taken her to some incredible places that we're going to unpack today as part of our podcast. I'd love to introduce you to Olivia Li. Olivia, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, it's such a great pleasure to be here. I'm very excited about this episode.
We're excited to have you. I know you. We've had a couple of conversations about just how long a journey you've been on from the time you started nursing and nursing school, and now where you sit in nursing education, which we'll talk about later, and just the roles that you've had, the education that you've walked through. We know that nursing as a profession is not a once and done education proposition. There is constant continuing education and moving up along the care spectrum in terms of knowledge and skill and leadership, and increasingly a voice that nurses have at the table when we talk about evolving models of care and even evolving the way nurses and other healthcare workers are trained to provide care along our spectrum. So let's jump in there. I am so excited to hear your story. So let's start at the beginning, as they say. When did you decide to become a nurse? What inspired you to embark on a career in healthcare? Everybody has a different story for that moment when they said, this is what I want to do with my life. And, what got you started?
So when I was 5-year-old, my kindergarten teacher facilitated a class called, what would you do when you grow up? What would you do when you grow up? And everybody gets to go to the front of the class and talk about their dreams. I was 5-year-old and went there. I said, my dream is to be a guardian angel to help people in need. And just be careful of what you wish for, because you may just as well get it. And now I'm a nurse and helping people directly, indirectly. It's a super exciting journey.
That's powerful. That's such a young age to already have a sense of what you want to do with your life and maybe what you're wired and gifted to do. And so I'm assuming you didn't start nursing school in kindergarten, so there was some time in between. Where did you start your education and training? How did you get there early on?
I started out my education and training back in China. So it is a practical and a decision that really I was just trying to please my parents. My parents split up at that time, and they try to help me to find a job that is, technical, that is honorable as a girl, as a female, and also to be able to be self-sufficient and to be able to provide myself financially no matter what happens in life. And I always have a deep passion to help people.
That's great. So where did you get your training?
So I started my training in China Medical University. And then, so it laid a very solid foundation for me to be acclaimed in nursing knowledge and skills. Encounter a lot of challenges as ICU nurse in China. I see the pain and suffering. I wanted to help people more. I feel a sense of powerlessness. So the best way I know to help more is to get more education. So I went to UK, University of Wales, to pursue my master's degree in nursing. And that has really trumped my world. From one day I speak Chinese, another day I speak English, and writing all assignments and do all interactions in different food and culture just after a plane ride.
Well, you said one day you spoke Chinese and one day you spoke English. There's a lot of days in between there. I'm assuming. I'd love for you to share what that's like for our audience, especially for those who maybe only have a primary language, don't have a second language, or those that have been on a similar journey. That's quite an undertaking to take on a new language, especially one that will be critical to your professional role where you're working. What was that process like? How long did that take for you to feel that you were at a proficiency level that you could feel comfortable, moving into that UK environment and studying and being in hospitals and doing, your clinicals and having to do those with a new language? Talk about that, because that's fascinating.
Lea, I'm just going to be vulnerable here. Even up till today, I still feel very insecure about my language. I will never sound like without an accent. I will never be exactly like a native speaker. So it is definitely a journey of inner transformation and growth. But for me, we did learn a lot of academia of English as a science and the technology. So we know all the grammars, we know how to write and read it, but we never speak it because the environment, the first language in China is Mandarin for me. So I started going to this English corner in my hometown. All the Chinese people will go there. And then the first day I was sweating, but I practiced one sentence. Hello, my name is Olivia. And that's all I need to know. And then the second week I go there. How old are you? I recite something more. So we're all Chinese people trying to practice English in that simulated environment.
It's really important to be in an immersive environment. Certainly accelerates both receiving and sending that new language on both sides. That's amazing. So you go to the UK. How long did you stay in the UK? What were you doing there? I know you were getting your master's degree. Did you stick around and work, or did you go back to China?
Yeah, after a few years in China, so I went to pursue my master's in the UK. About 2.5 to 3 years, I completed my Master of Science in Nursing there. What a great privilege. It opened my eyes and it taught me. So in China, it taught me the foundation for nursing knowledge and skills and discipline, self-disciplines. In the UK, it really taught me how to critically think. So my professors there said, you can critique all of these papers and synthesize what are the flaws and what are the strengths and weakness of all of this. So he taught me not everything published is or that's out there is correct, and you can have your own thoughts and opinions. and critical think about different topics. So that was really new, an eye-opening experience for me.
That was a lot of what you focused in your master's program, critical analysis.
Critical thinking, a lot of research, a lot of we did have the way of teaching was very different. We had a lot of discussion, debate, assignment writing instead of getting the test or exam the correct answer per se. So yes, we had to.
Were you taking this journey alone, Olivia, or did you have family with you? How were we always talk about the professional side of these decisions and the career moves that we make, but there's a whole nother element to that in terms of family support and decisions that are made to have a social environment around you that you're connected to. How did you navigate that as you were moving through your career?
Yeah, absolutely. I cannot be where I am without amazing support from my family and mentors and organizations and experts in the field. I'm very blessed. My parents were the first supporters. They're very open-minded. They didn't want to keep me in China. They see something special in me. However, they put all the bucks in me. So they were like, they have the whole life savings that they had to pay for the tuition fee for me to pursue my master's in the UK. And they calculated, so if you stay there for 2 years, and this is how much we pay you, say 200,000 for the entirety, then what is per minute? And how would you make the best use of that, the day, the hour, the minute? So there was a lot of pressure that was on me. It's kind of, you either make us proud, we want to support you that way. So that is the kind of the first tier of support that I have from my parents.
It's amazing that they were empowering you as a woman. We just recently published an insights brief just a couple of months ago, actually, on how nurse migration drives gender equality for women in careers where, you don't often or always find that kind of support for a young girl to set aside traditional pathways, perhaps, and are encouraged and elevated and supported and funded. That's the other thing of getting a young girl through educational ladders and gateways, and really empowering young women to pursue career opportunities where they're going to find them, especially if they're not available where they are. It does take having that, again, not just the emotional support, but people who are willing to actually fund and, financially support that journey. And it sounds like you had a great support system to do that. That's not always afforded to everyone. I think that's inspiring, and our audience would be inspired to know that that's possible and that it is a pathway for women to advance careers. And that there's literally nowhere in the world that's off limits to them to seek educational advancement and career opportunity and to have a voice. So I applaud your parents. I hope I know they're proud of you. So let's talk about when did you decide, okay, I think I want to go to the U.S. Okay. I want to practice in the United States. How long a time was there between your master's pursuit and coming to the U.S.? Because I really want to camp there for a minute. We know at CGFNS, that's not a quick journey to decide that you're going to try and get into the U.S. There's a lot of requirements and a lot of waiting. So I'd love to hear about your journey. How long did that take you, and what did you have to navigate to go through that?
Absolutely. So it has always been my dream to go and to practice in the U.S. healthcare system for its innovation and high quality, and just a level of entrepreneurship here is very vibrant. So I initially submitted my documents to CGFNS back in 2002 or 2003, and I went through CGFNS played a very significant and crucial part for my credential evaluation. The CGFNS test, I think initially I scheduled to do it in Hong Kong, and then because I was in the UK, I was able to just sit and do the test in London while I was doing my master's. And then went through the credential evaluation, the background check, and submit all of the language tests and IELTS and everything, and went through the visa screen. And it's incredible. And there was no delay, and people are always supportive, and everything is electronic records online. I can easily access my profile. However, there's something uncontrolled happened, because during that time, in the early 2000s, there were recession. So there was a freeze for hiring nurses, actually, and some other professionals to the U.S. So I submitted this whole thing 2003, say, but I didn't receive. I had an invitation for immigration interview 2015. That's 12 years later. So that is just my story, because after the recession of the bigger environment, it lifted, and then the hospitals and employers opened up again.
Yeah, I don't think our general audience would understand that you don't just fill out an application and have your academic career and credentials verified and take your NCLEX and and just head on over and get a job. That there's there's visa dependencies, and there's a lot of factors that go into that. And so it's not uncommon for us to hear periodically about people from, nurses and healthcare workers from different countries who do have a protracted wait. And it's not because they're not qualified or they don't have all their paperwork, set up and evaluated, but because there's just a limited access to come in and do that. And I'm so glad to hear the process went well for you once you went through your evaluation, but the wait is long. And it was probably very exciting to get that invitation to say, today's the day I get to go have my appointment. Yeah. Can you talk about that day when you got that notification after waiting 12 years?
That's such a special day, because I went it's not that at all. I loved UK, and I was hoping to stay there, and then I also migrate to Canada. I have another story there. So before I actually landed in the US after 13 years. So that day was Ottawa. I was invited to the consular in Ottawa in Canada. I had an immigration interview, a lot of lineups. And to be honest, I didn't have the updated criminal check from one of the countries I reside. I forgot it was UK or China. But it was okay. So then I remember the immigration officer was a gentleman with glasses, and he said, do not worry about it. I believe you're going to be such an asset for U.S. healthcare and nursing profession. Welcome aboard. I was like, what? I got it. He's like, yes, you got it.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. So what happens right after that? What was the next step? Because there's still a few more steps depending on which state you're moving into, and what the state licensing board requirements are and all of those things. So what was the next hurdle you had to get over to find your way into your new career?
Exactly. So I didn't give up. Even my immigration lawyer said, I don't think you should go. You should give this up. But, I'm glad I went. But then after that, I think I become a landed immigrant right away. So then I feel I've successfully transferred from China to UK to Canada. And then the third stop is from Canada to US. So I had a little easier transition, but it's not without challenges. So I have to find a job. At that time, I was able to, I think, quickly find a nursing professor, nursing educator, a job in California, actually. And then I think before that, I did have to go through more credentials, submitting all my credentials and all my nursing licensing documents to I think I started with the state of California, and then I later on transferred to Hawaii. So I have to take the NCLEX board examination with Pearson VUE. So that is another hurdle. But I already had the CGFNS, which is predictor for at that time, about
Right.
20 years
Yeah.
ago, they still have that. So I feel pretty good. But I did prepare, seeking a lot of mentors and the resources online, and did some self-studies and passed that exam, and do it all over again. Yeah. Yeah.
So you got your first job in education, and
Yeah.
that's where you've operated and practiced really since that time. I know you're in Hawaii now. What have you done in those interim years? I'd love to know what that first job experience was, but also because we get a lot of questions about, how do I acclimate to a new country and new culture, new systems, new processes? You mentioned that it was a little easier for you coming into the US than it might be for some because you had already had to do that twice, once in the UK and again in Canada. But what was let's talk about maybe your first 6 months in the United States. Was that a challenge? Was it exciting? I bet it was a mixture of both. What was that season like when you were moving in, especially after such a long wait, 12 years, and you're finally here? I'm curious if it lived up to your expectations and hopes when you got here.
Absolutely. I've been the truth spoke. I've been presented with so many opportunities. Just 15, 20 years ago, I submitted my application as a foreign nurse to CGFNS. And now I've been invited as a keynote speaker on this podcast, Care Everywhere series. I think it is a miracle. It speaks itself how much opportunities the U.S. have presented to me. So I'm forever grateful for that. So because I had a lot of preparations, whether for language preparation initially, that is really, really tough, and the cultural adaptation as well. Each healthcare system has its unique ability and similarities and differences in how they function. So I do have to, and especially to adapt into a new culture, new environment, and have a new circle of friends away from your family and existing roots and friends. And that has always presented a challenge. But I just have this spirit of adventure. I really wanted to see the world. I wanted to explore. It's not, sometimes I feel fearful, anxious, but I always wanted to push forward and become more bigger than myself, and hopefully in return that I can inspire, empower other internationally educated nurses to do the same, to step out of their comfort zone. It's not easy because you have your job in your home country, and now once again another and then another. But then the amount of exposure, perspectives, and friends I've made are so rich for me, and
So powerful. So powerful. Was it challenging at all? I'm curious, moving right into education, nursing education in the United States, not having worked in a nursing role in a U.S. health system where we have, we're unique in terms of our payer system and our regulatory requirements and some of those things. Was that a challenge that you had to acclimate to in moving into a nursing education role? How much of that is U.S. health system specific? Clinical nursing is clinical nursing pretty much anywhere, but did you have to learn new skills and understand electronic health record systems as they were evolving when you first came in? I'm always curious about what other job readiness skills nurses need to be thinking about when they move out of their nursing roles in one country and move them into another. Clinical skills often transfer well, but there are other, system specific challenges and knowledge domains that have to be acquired and adopted as well. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, for sure, Leah. That is a very insightful question. Although I didn't have direct patient care when I migrated first to the US, I feel I took assurance, and I want to tell all the audience of CGFNS podcast as well. I feel I can always rely on my prior experiences of bedside nursing, whether it's in China, in the UK, in Canada, and I feel I can almost function immediately. However, would I so I was put in as a clinical instructor right away. So I had one shift orientation. Patients direct care, like you said, technology or even the equipments and are similar, but electronic records and hospital policies and even cultures could be very different. But I feel the key for me is remain open-minded, open-hearted, and be adaptable. And people can tell that I'm eager to learn and to grow myself, and I'm here to help and contribute, and being very enthusiastic. Those are the ways to. I'm not always like this, but this is the first time I put myself out there.
You're doing great. You're great. No, your story is beautiful. Talk to us about what you're doing today. Where do you live? How do you spend your day? What gets you excited about nursing and nursing education every day? Let's fast forward to where you are now.
Oh my goodness. I feel I'm living in a dream right now. I'm a dual citizenship, so I travel between US and Canada. And I also help not only educate bachelors, so all levels of nursing education, bachelor degree, associate degree, and some LPN, as well as international educated nurse, for now between China and Canada mainly. And I also, it's my passion to share my knowledge and experience and journey along and mentor along other internationally educated nurse, to encourage, empower them for their own journey to achieve their own career advancement goals and their dreams. And it's all possible. So I do have projects and initiatives that I help to worldwide nursing. It's my business or a company to help mentor those and provide help support with their registration process and with their board exam tutoring or even career advancement advice and navigate the daunting process of the visa applications or whatever. That I feel it's more of apart from a career advancement, it's more of a personal transformation that is way more significant for me anyways. Yeah.
Are you seeing an increased interest in internationally trained nurses to want to take their portable skills and come into the US or Canada or other countries to advance their careers? Is there still a great interest in career mobility that you're mentoring those folks coming in, and you've been doing this for a while? Do you still see a lot of enthusiasm out there about people who want to do that?
Absolutely, 100%. I say this is a global trend. With our Earth, it's just like a village, and just think about how my mentors and my professors and my leaders and managers and organizations have poured into me, and how I'm able to give back gratefully to others. And you can never underestimate how much one person can do. I think there are a lot of great interest, especially people around the world. They really want to better their own life. That's my initial motivation. And you know what? I also sponsored my parents to Canada as well. So there's also that benefit for the families and for the communities. And there's just greater perspective. You meeting people, your life horizon is just expanded, and it's not always easy, but I would never look back. And I think there's definitely great interest, and I think U.S. is doing a great job in simplifying and streamline the process, make it easier for foreign nurses to go through the credential evaluations and to able to bridge their skills and expertise into the U.S. system, kind of in a faster. I know there are a lot of supporting programs in place in workplace as well to help them.
Yeah, absolutely. We are increasingly focused. We've always been about career mobility, getting people from here to there, but we're also looking at career mobility as a process of getting people from here to here in terms of the trajectory of their careers. You got your PhD at some point in this journey, right? I think when you were in California, and that's inspiring because, when we talk about career advancement and continuing education and professional development, it's great for people to look, especially internationally educated nurses, for them to look at success stories like yours, Olivia, to say it's possible for me to not only get, from one country to another for opportunity, but even to continue to pursue that opportunity through advanced and higher education, get my doctorate degree, be a thought leader and an expert in my field, work at the very top of my licensure and maximize my skill set and be able to produce a lot of professional fruit in my life that I'm now able to turn and resource other people with. So it's very powerful and inspiring. How long did it take you to get your PhD, and what's your PhD in?
Yes, I had the privilege to obtain my doctorate degree in global executive education leadership at University of Southern California, USC, Los Angeles. And it's a very unique program. So we were traveling to 9 countries and cultures and regions to get to know the education system and just meet all the thought leaders globally and scholars and researchers there. So it was really eye-opening experience to have that network and opportunity. And also I'm very active in also a lot of conference and presentations, and help contribute to give back through committee works as well, and volunteer works as well as a mentor and i.e. a mentor. So I think for me, I really seek to better myself continuously at the meantime to see how I can best serve people around me in a tangible way. I think that is great leadership. I don't want to boss people around just because I've experienced so much pain and struggle and suffering and challenges and overcame them. I want people around me to have, easier, smoother transition and less suffering and less pain. And there are lots of them. So it does help that I have a lot of mentors and people like you, organizations like CGFNS, to help support me and nurses around the world.
That's amazing. So I was going to ask you what your greatest career passion is, but it is exuded from every answer that you've given in our discussion, which is to really develop people. You're an educator. You are broadening that scope to not just educating nurses, but you have a heart for developing and mentoring internationally educated and trained nurses and helping them on their journeys. That's a calling. That's more than a vocation. It's an avocation. It's a purpose for living, and it's so exciting to hear that come not only from your experience, but from your heart. And we're so appreciative that you've shared that with us today. So I'd rather land here instead. If you could talk to a young girl in China or anywhere else in the world, let's say a teenager who's really thinking about their long-term career, what advice would you give them, not only about a career in healthcare, but about the adventure of looking at the world as an open space to pursue opportunity any way they want to or anywhere they want to go? What would you say to those young girls? And I'm sure you have opportunities to do that at times, but I'd love to know what advice, or maybe what advice you'd go back and give your younger self when you were thinking about this journey.
I believe anything is possible, and I allude so far what I've achieved to I'm grateful for I believe in God, and my faith has played a crucial role in my life, always keep me grounded and full of love and exercise forgiveness and just so I feel I'm unconditionally loved and supported and forgiven at all times. So that does help me and give me a lot of hope to move forward. That is just my personal journey. For my younger self, other girls out there, I would keep on encouraging them to dream, because whatever the desire or for a better future, a better life, or betterment of yourself, or a better impact and contribution. It's all possible, and it's all start from inside. You make a decision and you're determined, and then you take actionable steps to achieve your goal day by day. And I would tell my younger self to enjoy the journey a little bit, because I was very self-disciplined and sacrificial. And I feel, but then it all worth it, just to be here to speak with you and the wider audience here and share my stories. I'm so grateful.
That's so amazing. I have to say, I know that's powerful for young people, because it's one thing to continually be told, keep dreaming, keep reaching for your dreams, keep your eye on the prize, keep working hard. But young people need role models. They need to see people who've actually gone before them and done that well, and to know it's possible. And that's you. That's the inspiration that you're giving those young folks around the world, or even older people who are changing careers and considering a nursing career, or even maybe they have a different career, but they're considering career mobility and seeking the opportunity elsewhere. I know it's super inspiring to them. We are super grateful to have you on the show today. Thank you, Olivia, so much for sharing your story, for working hard and also persevering. When I look at that 12-year window that you had to wait, you didn't give up. Even your immigration attorney was saying, you might want to consider a different plan or a different path. And you said, no, this is what I want to do. Good things are worth waiting for and pursuing and preparing yourself for in the interim. And I know that's inspiring to our audience, and really to anyone that would be listening to our program. So thank you so much for being here today. I've really enjoyed the conversation, and we'll circle back with you. We might have to have you on again and talk some more about your career, but we appreciate you being here.
I'd love to be here again. And thank you, Lea. It's a pleasure.
Thanks so much. All right, guys, that's the end of this episode. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. That's it for this episode of Care Anywhere. Thanks for joining us. We hope you'll tune in for future episodes where we will continue these powerful discussions about our global health workforce. If you missed any episodes, you can find them at cgfns.org/podcast, or by subscribing to our channel on your favorite podcast platform. Just look for our podcast logo or search for Care Anywhere to find us. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.